All right, joining me now, our dear friend Vivek Ramaswamy, former presidential candidate, campaign surrogate. Vivek, as always, welcome back. Good to see you. So here's the thing. I think this gives whole new dimension. Kamala Harris, it's almost, I won't say she's out from behind the curtain, but she picked Walz. She went with the far-left progressives, the Bernie Sanders wing of the party, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What does this mean? What does this mean for the Trump-Vance campaign? What does this mean for the Democrats' campaign? I mean, to some extent, I think when this surfaces, the bloom is off the rose. But what says Vivek Ramaswamy?
Look, I'm going to be very frank, Larry. The last few weeks haven't been our best. This gives us exactly the reset that we required. I was shocked that she didn't go with Shapiro. That would have been the rational move for her. But it tells us a lot about Kamala Harris. Say what you will about Walz, the vice president doesn't really matter as much in setting policy. What it tells us about Kamala Harris's decision-making as a potential U.S. president. This was her first presidential-style decision she had to make. And it shows to which side she actually bends the knee, the far-left progressive wing. And the funny thing, it's the dirty little secret about both of them, actually, Larry, is they began their careers in politics appearing to be more centrist Democrats. Kamala Harris in California, even Walz in Congress positioned himself as a centrist, compromise-oriented centrist-oriented Democrat, yet he ended up migrating to the left. So it's not so much that these people have their own independent ideologies. Who knows what Kamala Harris's ideology is? Who knows what Tim Walz's actual ideology is? But what it shows is which wing of the Democratic Party ultimately controls their behaviors. So in the end, it may be just that they're puppets. They're puppets wielded by the far left. But regardless, that policy record is something they're going to have to own, and it isn't going to be good for them now through November.
Well, I want to unpack a couple of these points. These are great points, very important points. I mean, for one thing, look, last night I called it the Bernie Sanders decision. Bernie Sanders is 2 for 2. Bernie Sanders wanted Kamala Harris, not Biden, and Bernie Sanders wanted Walz, not Shapiro. And he got his way. He is the leader of the left-wing progressives in the Democratic Party. Bernie Sanders didn't like Shapiro. I don't know there's any anti-Semitism here. Mr. Sanders himself is of the Jewish faith. They just didn't like it because he was too pro-Israel, because he was in favor of school choice, and he was in favor of fracking in an oil state like Pennsylvania. Those are, unacceptable things in the progressive litany. So I'm just saying, on this point, Kamala didn't just have a gut reaction or she sat down and felt more comfortable like all these newspapers wrote about last night, and I stayed up way too late to read that nonsense. She went there because that's the center of the Democratic Party, and they're weighing, the teachers union is weighing in, the service union is weighing in, right? Bernie Sanders is weighing in, Elizabeth Warren is weighing in. I mean, the phone wires were burning, and that's why she started. That's where I want to start. This wasn't some gut reaction, flipping a coin. Oh, he's a lovely fellow, let's put him on the ticket. She was hearing it from the left-wing interest groups.
Well, the reality is there's also a contradiction in how they're pitching this guy Walz in the first place. They're pitching him as some sort of Midwestern unifier. The reality is this. You can't have it both ways. This is the guy that has gone out of his way to call 70-plus million Americans, if not more, in his words, just plain weird. I reject this, Larry. I think that this is fundamentally against national unity. The idea of no matter who wins this election, to say that 70-plus million people on the other side are somehow no longer part of the same culture or country is alienating. So Joe Biden campaigned on national unity. He failed miserably. Kamala Harris tries to invoke it, and so does this guy Walz. Yet it is completely contradictory with respect to their core message and approach. Now, here's my view. My top advice to our own side is this. 3 words. Focus on policy. If we focus on policy, we win this election. If we offer our own vision for the future of the United States of America, we win this election. If we fall into the trap of really following the other side's shenanigans and obsessing over that, we create greater risk for ourselves. So to me, the Walz pick actually presents risks, frankly, for both sides. The risk to the Democrats is that it causes them to lose centrist voters, as I believe they will, over Walz's policy record. But I think the risk for Republicans, Larry, is that some of his stances and some of his positions and his approach have been so bad that it actually distracts us to go down a rabbit hole that we don't need to go down. Instead, we got to focus on what do we care about? Seal the border, grow the economy, stay out of World War III, and lift up all Americans, including in our national pride. Focus on that. We win this thing hands down. We just got to avoid that risk of distraction, which is exactly the risk that the Kamala Harris-Tim Walz ticket presents.
You know, I think all that, put the foreign wars aside, and not that it's unimportant. I'm going to make a separate point, Vivek. Growth. At the convention, I thought Donald Trump just was brilliant in his discussion of growth. This was right after the attempted assassination. But he talked about tax cuts and deregulation and fracking and downsizing the bureaucracy, as you have talked about so frequently, actually obeying the Supreme Court. The other team wants to pack the Supreme Court. I mean, he was fabulous on growth. I'm not going to say he lost that message because, I hear it and I look at it, but I think he's been distracted by a couple other things. And I think the Democratic ticket has not one scintilla, not a single basis point, Vivek, of growth in their platform anywhere, whether it's regulations, taxes, or anywhere. And people are worried about that, right? The stock market, not good. A lot of economic indicators, not good. I'm not saying we're in a recession, but I'm saying the risk of recession or the front end of recession. So growth. That's what, Reagan taught me 40 years ago, plus growth.
So, Larry, you call me on here usually because you want the truth from me, so I'm not going to give it to you unvarnished here.
Yes.
The reality is, I think the Republican Party has not always been particularly strong on this issue.
I know.
And some of those fissures, even on the right, I think actually create a lost opportunity for us. You're right, the Democrats have abandoned a pro-growth agenda altogether. But the reality is, if you look at the last several years, you do have Republicans posing bills in the U.S. Senate and elsewhere, raising the minimum wage nationally, looking at other kinds of anti-growth measures, believing that economic growth is not necessarily an objective that we should prize above others. So I do think the more clear-minded we are in embracing that, I think President Trump actually has been quite good on this issue in terms of rolling back the regulatory state, rolling back the tax burden, growing the economy, and the kind of economic growth we saw under President Trump's leadership. Frankly, if we saw that more all the way up and down the party, we would actually be in an even stronger position to differentiate ourselves against the Waltzes of the world, versus where sometimes I think we can risk losing the plot with respect to union policy, with respect to minimum wage policy. When we see that creeping up in the Republican Party, that actually leaves us in a weaker position. So President Trump's first term was outstanding. I think he's been great on this issue, but I think he needs to continue to lead the way. And the sad truth is, we may squander that opportunity unless we actually shore up to our roots and say, you know what, we believe in a smaller state, tame that regulatory state, unleash American innovation, don't apologize for it. That's actually who we are. So I'll speak that truth, even if it's a little bit uncomfortable. That's the reality.
No, I'm 100% with you. Look, I'm an old free market. Free market capitalism is the best path to prosperity. I said that for many years on another network when I had a show there. You're absolutely right. If Republicans or conservatives want to use big government the way Democrats are, that doesn't make it right. It does not make it right. So you're completely right. I would say to you, Mr. Trump knows this, and he's done pretty well. He lost his stride a little bit last weekend in Atlanta, Georgia, but now he's got a reopening. You call it a reset. I call it a reopening, but that's a good thing. I think his running mate is picking up his game, too. We've got some great quotes. I interviewed J.D. Vance on this show last night. I think he's picking up his game on growth. Vivek Ramaswamy, you always pick up your game. It's terrific stuff, honestly. Thank you ever so much for helping us this evening. We appreciate it.
Thank you.